Finding and developing your sales process is one of the keys to being successful as a life insurance agent. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why that is, how you can analyze what you need to improve, and how you can statistically put yourself in the best position to be hitting $40,000, $50,000, and $60,000 months. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5+ years, we've helped 550 agents issue paid commissions, whatever you want to call it, in premium into their bank account directly off of our leads. And on this channel, I try to talk about the strategies, tendencies, and behaviors of those individuals and what you as an individual agent can go out or agency owner and do to implement. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and I will hop right into the video. All right, so today I want to talk about something, which is finding your sales process, okay? Now, here's where this comes from, okay? I had a call last night with a client. You guys know that I try to give actual context. I don't try to just make things up and come on here and be like, oh yeah, whatever. Let me give you the preface, okay? So client has made sales with us, all right? But here's what he does. Here's what happens. He has an agency, right? And he's in our partnership right now, okay? He's in tier 1. So for those that don't know, tier 1 of our partnership is, you start working with us, you bring us more agents, okay? So we're just gonna call him Agent 1 is the guy who texts me, all right? He has 2 other agents who are running the leads, okay? And what happens is all 3 of them have had success. Granted, this is only like 2 months, okay? So we're 2 months in, but now Agent 1, so let's say Agent 1, 2, and 3. So, Agent 2 and 3. We're in the same leads. All 3 have had success 2 months, but Agent 1 has had 2 not so great packs. And by not so great, he's went over, right? 0-4. Basically just means he hasn't made any sales. Now, Agent 2 and 3 are crushing. Now, they're all using the same leads. Now, Agent 1 is not a complainer. He comes to me and is like, look, what can we do to improve this? Like, I know I'm good. I know I've had success. How can you help? First of all, I love this question. Let me just start off by explaining that the reason why I call this finding your sales process is because sales and marketing they work cohesively together, okay? I always talk about if you don't actually know what's going on with your clients, if you don't understand marketing efforts, you cannot necessarily you can fix your sales process, but you always directly look at what you're doing, which is 100% true, but you also cannot give yourself an advantage, right? An advantage is, okay, just keep getting through the slump, getting through the time. He could just be going through a rough patch. That can happen. The disadvantage, that's the disadvantage. The advantage is that he has resources like myself, my team, people to plug into that can help put him in the best position. So here's what happens. Agent hits me up. He's like, hey, what can we do to fix it? And I'm like, we can talk about sales process, blah, 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 maybe how he's saying it, etc. Granted, he's trained Agent 2 and 3. So here's what we look at. We say, okay, let's look at data, all right? So we have to go to data. And this is how so I know it's a roundabout way of me getting to it, but this is super important. Sometimes it's not your sales process. I'm going to give you 2 examples. This first one's going to be it's not your sales process. This is not blaming the leads. This is identifying something. So I go to the data and I look and I see Agent 2, all right, and 3 do not have the same states as Agent 1. Now, what tends to happen is sometimes Meta, Google, different places when you're running ads, they'll bring certain target demographics, target audiences. So some states perform better than others at certain times of the year. Sometimes Texas is crushing it. Sometimes Texas is really bad. Sometimes Georgia is crushing it. Sometimes Georgia is really bad. Well, this agent, when we looked at the data, had one particular state that was just not performing well. And most of his leads were coming from that state. Whereas Agent 2 and 3 had completely different states, didn't even have that state included. And Agent 3 actually identified quickly that, hey, I'm not really having a lot of success. So he pulled the state immediately. Now, Agent 1 didn't know to do that, but that's what he texted me. So now what we've done is taken out the state, right? And now we'll let the leads continue to flow. And I'm betting, man, he's going to close 1 or 2 today. That's just how it works because it always comes down to data. Right now, that is not to say that is inherently the leads problem, but you have to find and customize your sales process, okay? Sales and marketing have to go together. Now, let me give another example, okay? So that was just example 1. I just wanted to bring that up as context in terms of what happened yesterday and what we can look at. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty in terms of, you can just call that like example. that's not, yes, that's your sales process. Because to me, sales process is not just calling, it's what happens before the sale, because they should be working together. Like if you're running age leads, you have context on the age lead. You're not going to remember what it is, but like best practices, how to think through it. An age mailer is different than an age social media lead, is different from an age data lead. By data, I just mean you have no idea where it came from. Age social media is you know what platform it came from, so you understand the demographics and behaviors. That's why social media leads tend to do a little bit better that are aged, not than mailers, but than data, because people that are searching online are always searching online. So if you're like, hey, you were looking into this, whether they were looking into it yesterday, 2 days ago, or 2 months ago, like I could call life insurance agents from 3 years ago when I was running ads, and I'm a betting man that I would get conversations, not because they're just absolutely amazing, but because at the end of the day is they're probably still maybe looking for it, or they're on the platform, so they see things all the time. So they don't really know, like, yes, they're gonna remember, but as long as you're like, yeah, you fill this out, blah blah blah, you'll be fine. That's the same thing that happens with leads. That's why people will be like, yo, these leads kind of act like they didn't, like there wasn't long ago. Like, yeah, because you know what to say and you know their behaviors. You know what objections you're gonna get. So you're confident in that in an all around way. Now, I want to talk about the sales process. And this is where this comes from. So one of my homies, his name's Wiley. He dropped a video about the 5 processes that you go through sales. For anybody that watches me, definitely go support and watch my homie. His page is fire. Shout out to my dog Wiley. But anyways, rest assured, what I'm getting to is we did have this process when we sold together, or when we sold back in the day, and it was called a financial inventory. Now, for me, I forgot all about this thing because I'm not actively selling, right? But I'm about to take this and put this into my own business. The reason why I bring this up for today is because whether you use a financial inventory, whether you have some guideline SOP, you need to have a process. Your upline should have a process. If you're an agent and you have no process, you need to go find somebody who has a process. If they're just telling you to call and use this script, but they're not actually giving you an entire process and how they align, right? So when I say process, here's what that means. So we used to have what was called a financial inventory, and I will not take this whole video because you guys need to go watch it. I'm going to just do my best to give a high level of like what we used to do. So essentially we used to have this sheet, and on this sheet, it used to have obviously basics, name, email, phone number, state, but it used to have like three to 5 things that we need to ask, right? And of those 3 to 5 things we need to ask, we were able to create basically a written version. We used to be in person, a written version of exactly what it looks like if they passed away. So we were able to paint a picture vividly by asking these set of questions. And then we use those questions to create the actual options that solve the problem. Now, a lot of times people are just taught to use this intro, read this script, and make a sale. And while that can be okay, the problem is that if they don't know the why behind what they're asking, it doesn't matter. And the why is what the process is. So if somebody's doing virtual sales versus doing in-person sales and going to appointments, there's a different process. We had a process where you call, introduce yourself, ask them a few questions. You need to figure out if they were married. You need to figure out when they were home, if they're working or not working. Then you need to book an appointment, tie it down, and get off the phone. Your phone calls were, oh goodness, my bad. Your phone calls were anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes tops, like absolutely tops. No, really no longer than that. And then virtual was a different thing. And then virtual one call close versus virtual booked appointment. And then it's like, if you do the one call close, how do you frame the conversation? Do you do one leggers? Do you not do one legger? These are SOPs. That's what's called standard operating procedures. I call it a sales process because for whatever reason, a lot of life insurance agents have never heard of the word SOP. I didn't know what SOP was before I got into business. When I was a life insurance agent, nobody mentioned it. They just said, this is what we do. This is our process, right? So you need to understand, this is a quicker video, that you need to have a process. If your upline or agency does not have a process to teach you, not necessarily how to sell, like meaning closing. I'm not talking about closing and intro. I'm talking about the entire process and why you ask what you ask. If you are still just pitching numbers, if you're literally pitching numbers, you need to ask your upline or somebody around you, how can you explain to me how to sell concepts? Because I know that concepts sell. Numbers do not sell. Numbers you're the quote guy. I'm not the quote guy. I'm the solution guy. I assign the reason why I bring financial inventory. I figure out their situation, then I make a custom solution. That was literally to say custom solution for you based on what you're telling me. So if I ask these questions, you're going to give me a good understanding of where you're at. I'm going to make a custom solution for what you're telling me. All right. Now, based on that custom solution, I can give you the best recommendation to put you in the best position to hit XYZ goal. Right. I'm about to use that in my own business because I've kind of gotten away from it. I went to the appointment center model, but I don't love that model because not an appointment setter model. Call and like do whatever. I'm a straightforward guy. I'm a logical guy. Like, look, this is where you're at. This is what you're trying to do. You as an agent need to have that same thought process. Like, look, this is your situation. Here's what's going to look like. If you don't take care of this, here's what's going to happen. Do you want that to happen? No. Here are your options for how we can solve that. Do you want this, this, or this? You only have enough money for these three because I'm only going to show you stuff that's in your budget, but I'm going to create a custom solution. You just tell me which one you want. Do you care more about this? Do you want this and this? Or do you want this, 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 and this? And that's how you position and package for people to make a decision on what option they want to go with. And you just pitch them and then you say, hey, choose, and then we move forward. It's really, really simple. It's not complex, but you need to have a process. I'm not saying that you need to reinvent the wheel. Don't do that. But your upline or somebody in the agency that you just joined is really good at selling. All you got to do is say, what do you do? I'm going to go do that. Let's execute. Let's make some money. Point blank, period. So I hope this helps. You need to find a sales process. I use this first one to identify that when you're going through and assessing where you're at, if you have a nailed down sales process, if you're writing 30, 40, 50K, go to your lead company, person you're working with, lead vendor, and ask them some questions. If they can't give you answers or solutions, go in the opposite direction. And if you try that doesn't work, hit them up again, because it's not the end of the world. Obviously, it's not the leads, because if it was the leads, then this thing, if the leads were so good that every single person would close, then just buying a lead would be good enough. If the leads were so bad that every single person wouldn't close, so it's like, what's the determining factor? You have to have good lead, good performance, good attitude, good script. Like, it all has to come together. So it's never just the lead or just the agent. It's all of the things together. Who has more of a control though? The agent, because they're on the phone. The one thing that doesn't change is if you get an old lead or a new lead. The one thing that doesn't change is if you're running mailers or you're running internet. The one thing that doesn't change if you're in person or virtual is the agent. So if there's an agent doing $100,000 virtual and there's an agent doing $100,000 in person, the leads don't matter, bro. They don't matter. It's like, oh yeah, because if this lead was magical, everybody who read it would have success. And bro, I know that's not how I've been doing this for 4 years. I know for a fact that's not how it works. So you as an agent, I'm trying to tell you, don't get your mind wrapped up in, oh my goodness, it's the lead. It's bro. Are you a dog? Can you make it work or not? I told my team this yesterday, and it's the God's honest truth. Every single lead, the way you need to look at leads, and maybe I should make a video on how to look at leads. Maybe I'll put that on my list. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do that. Let's see here. Hold on. Perfect. I'm going to make a video that's called How to Look at Leads. I don't know when I'm going to make it, but I'm going to make it. How to look at leads, right? And what I'm going to break down in that video is really simple. How you as an agent should be looking at leads. Old cheap leads are just mean that you have to spend more time to get a desired outcome. The leads are not bad. They're just old. There's no good and bad lead. That's not even really a thing. It's just they're either old, they're new, they're either you know what they saw and filled out, or you don't. You know how to handle their objections, or you don't. All those things add up to the time it takes for you to convert that lead into what we call a presentation or an opportunity to tell them about the product or service that can solve their problem or protect their family. That's all the lead is. It is not a check to say, oh man, I'm going to get paid. That's not how it works. If it was, that'd be great, but it's not. So because it's not, we need to create, right, a sales process that's predictable depending on the leads that we're running. This is why I said the other day that hopping from vendor to vendor is not actually good, because you think that the vendor is going to solve the problem. What you need to figure out is you need to find a good relationship with somebody who can do marketing, and then you need to tell them what you want to do and ask them how you can work with them to achieve the goal. It's not hard. It's really not hard. We just make it hard. We as agents, we try to find a way to make it like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make this so hard, and I'm going to make this something where at the end of the day, this company, these leads suck, or these leads are great, and I'm going to worship the ground they walk on, and then when things go bad, I'm going to point the finger. It's like, brother, it's marketing, dude. I have a marketing team. Do you think every single week I'm excited and I'm like, yo, best marketing team in the world? No, bro, some weeks are more profitable than others. March has been a dumpster fire for us. That's okay, though. It's a part of the process. So when it happens, you know what I do? I just reinvest back in. Like, cool, we just probably won't take a lot of profit this month. But that's okay, because the long-term game, you need to know what game you're playing. That goes back to the sales process. Bro, if I tell you to buy 100 leads and your sales process is work the lead, make a sale, and buy another pack, that's fine. But if your sales process is buy one lead, buy 100 leads, work them for a week, then once you close somebody, get 5 referrals, Dude, you may not need to buy leads, 3-4 times a week. You buy one pack once a week, you get 2 sales, you turn those 2 sales into 7, and then you do the same thing. So every 100 pack, you get 7 sales, 2 from the main, and then you start referrals. Yo, that's your sales process. If you're the opposite, you're like, dude, I don't have time for that. I'm gonna close this guy, make sure his family's taken care of, let him know if his family has anything, let him know I'm going to the next lead. Because they don't want to do all that, but that's their sales process. But you can't be in the middle. You can't say this lead doesn't work, bro. Every lead works, bro. Every single lead works. There's people calling 2-3-year-old mailers, 2 and 3 years old. Do you understand how long that is? I don't think people understand. You filled something out 3 years ago. That's 2023, right? That's 3 years ago. You filled something out, and somebody calls you, and they're like, "Yo, you filled out this thing in the mail for your mortgage," and they're getting banged on, pause all day, boop, 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 until guess what? Yo, I didn't get that taken care of. Cha-ching. Guess what they had to pay for though? Their time. The lead's not bad. It's not bad. It's just old. It's not a bad lead. Just like internet leads where they're like, well, I thought it was this. Cool. You probably didn't know what the marketing was. And that's fine. But bro, the lead's not bad. They still want the thing, dude. Like you can't let an objection get you out of the fact that they want the thing. Well, they said that they saw this and they thought this and they thought it was that. Okay, bro. Well, you filled it out. So look, let's talk about it. All right, cool. I understand. Maybe you're a little confused. What do you currently have? Why, dude? Freaking let your guard down. Put your emotions in the gutter real quick and go hard. And the last thing I'll say is I messed my own sales process up to wrap it up. Okay, 2 days ago, I got on 3 calls. I went 0 for 3. I didn't close anybody. All right, 0 for 3. First call was going well. Jim, well, we've been calling the dude for a few days. We call him, he finally picks up. I talk to him. Call's going well. At the end of the call, I try to book the appointment. He's like, well, just call me sometime on Monday. I hate that because for me, it's like, bro, stop treating me like I'm bothering you. When you filled this out, don't irritate me. He was like, well, just call me sometime on Monday and I'll think about it. I'm like, bro, what? We're just having a good conversation. I was like, well, first of all, I don't have Monday. I don't book out that far. It's like, so what does Thursday or Friday look like? Well, I can't do Thursday, blah, blah. I can't do Friday because I'm golfing or whatever. I was like, all right, well, let's see. What does Saturday look like? That's the latest I could do. He's like, no, call me back sometime on Monday. So we started going back and forth, and his assistant got in it, and it was just bad. But the problem was I got too emotional. I asked him a time. He said he can call me back. I said Monday. What I should have done is hit the Jeremy Minor, took control, and be like, hey, I'm not really sure. My schedule is like super packed. So here's what we can do. I'm going to give you my number to take down, and then you can try to give me a call then, and I'll see if I'm available to take your call. Okay. Then I give him my number and I say, hey, just so I'm clear, right? If I do have some availability around what time do you think you might be calling me? Just so I can kind of have a heads up if I need to move some things around on that day, or I can shoot you a text. Is there like a time that you might think, oh, well, but, and then he would have given me an answer, or we would just took my number down and we would have hopped off. Right. And then I would have just pseudo called him back sometime Monday and tried to finesse it because he was being difficult. I got emotional. Second call, guess what happened? Second call comes, talking to the gentleman. I'm like, hey, we're talking. He's in the car, right? And he's like, hey, I'm headed to an appointment. I got a few minutes, whatever. So we're talking and we're going through it. Well, I didn't really want to let this one go because it took so long to get him on the phone. So I was like, well, let me at least try to get as much as I can before he gets there. Well, he got there, gets out the car. We're in the middle of talking. He's like, well, just call me back. I'm headed into an appointment. And he actually was. So I lost it because I tried to push too hard and I should have just booked the appointment. And now I'm playing chase. I could have just booked it and like, hey, you're driving. Let's set it for tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. And the reason I didn't do that is because I let the first call get me too emotional. So I was already kind of riled up. Now the third call, here's what happened. And I ended up closing this third guy, but that's not the point though. I really low-key shouldn't have, but I did. So it doesn't matter. So look, the third call, here's what happens. I go in to the call. Well, the guy filled it out. I called him. He didn't pick up. I text him. Then he called me when I was in another meeting. And then he texted me. He was like, hey, I tried to call you back. So I called him and he's like, hey, I'm dropping my daughter off. I'll call you when I get back in the car. Now, I didn't hear that because I was so emotional. This is actually what happens with agents. And they don't realize it because they don't take self-accountability. You got to take inventory of yourself and realize where you're going wrong. Dude, if you went from working with a lead company and closing a bunch of leads and now you're not, I promise you it's the way that you're looking at the leads. You came in, you were excited, playing whatever, and then you're crushing it. Now you got comfortable and then now you changed up what you were doing. Bro, the leads don't change. Why the heck would a lead company say, you know what? Let me make these leads garbage so I lose clients. Come on, bro. That's not how it works. Now, can the lead quality get a little worse as you scale? Yes. But drastic changes? No. It's always the agent. It's always, and if I identified and went through and watched when you first got leads versus how you are 6 months in, you're going to be like, there's some sort of discrepancy and difference. Rest assured, what I was trying to get to is third person I call, I missed that sign, right? I missed him saying, I'm about to drop my daughter off. I'll call you back when I get in the car. Now, me knowing that now, I'd have been like, hey, how about this? When are you going to be back home? Right? So when he gets back home, I can get on Zoom or on a phone call and then process his payment. So I call him, we get through the whole thing. And at the end, I'm like, do you want to use a credit or debit card? And he says, well, I thought on your website it said you were going to send me the invoice. Otherwise, I would have waited. Now I'm in the car. Which to me is still an excuse, because if I'm the type of bull, I'll stop. Be like, yo, let me get this red light. Boom. What's what you need? Read it off and then roll. But I'm just different. And most people don't do that unless you're like serious. I'm extremely serious about things I do and sign up. Anyways, we go the next day, wake up in the morning. I send him the invoice. I'm like, he's not going to pay. And then I text him and I was like, send him a little message, like basically, where do we go from here? He was like, yo, send it to him again. He ain't paid. That's not the point though. The point I'm getting at is first person, I got riled up, I got defensive. Second person, I got too aggressive, right? But by the time I got third person, it was the last call of the night, I missed the signs. I missed my keywords and my tracks because I was so on like, I have to close, that now I'm extremely emotional, removed all logic in training, and I'm good. And this is why you have to have a sales process so you can identify where you mess up. So I know it's a long video. I know I went a lot of different places, but I really do hope this helps. I promise you do not have a lead problem. You have a sales problem. And I am a lead company. I'm telling you, you do not have a lead problem. You have a sales problem. Your sales does not align with the marketing, right? Or your sales wording and tracks do not align with the prospect. And you're not listening to them. That's all that happens. Yes, you can buy aged leads and be successful. You may not want to dial all day. If you buy fresh leads, you have to dial less. So you're just paying for less time. That's it. That's how you need to view it. But the lead is not amazing, because if that was the case and it's a product, then that means that you should be able to buy leads and make sales every day of the week. And that's not how it works. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. If you're an individual agent, you can go to Lead Lab CRM, right? We have leads anywhere between $2.50 to $55. We will be adding more, making adjustments. If you're an agency owner, agency owner, and you want to partner up with us, you have interest in actually growing with us, potentially working with us, allowing us to build your business, you can go to agentleadlab.com. You'll fill out a questionnaire. At the end, it's going to ask you, do you want to hop on a call? We do not do we're not going to build your in-house. You have to run our leads first. It's our process. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's how it goes. Even if you have a big agency, you will run our leads first before we just hire you, or you hire us. That is our process. We can't go through that. Don't get on a call just to ask how much the Apex thing is. It's 5 to 10K. I have people that do that. I'm like, dude, the price is 5 to 10K. It's not changing. If anything is going up, that's the retainer. It does not include ad spend, and it varies depending on what you need. I don't understand why people want to know the price. If I tell you the price, it doesn't make a difference. Dude, are you going to buy or not? You should get on a call. I don't know. That's me. Not should. Let me move to should. I get on calls with people that I watch their YouTube, their content, and guess what I do? I buy. No matter what it is. It's like, I already knew in my mind. I got a credit card. I'm going to do it. If I can't do the whole thing, I'm like, dude, let me get a payment plan or something. But I'm going to buy. To get on a call, I'm going to be honest with you. To get on a call with somebody and not move forward is very weird to me. To also get on a call and be like, tell me about your company is also really stinking weird to me. It is. The only reason I'd want to get on a call and ask a few questions is literally just to know, what are the tangible things? I'm not getting on a call to make a decision if I'm moving forward. I'm going to move forward. Every call I get on, I'm moving forward. Doesn't matter. Right? Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to be like that, but dude, don't get on a call and not, that's weird to me. You can look up everything. People have so much information. And if they don't, then honestly, if they don't have a lot of information you can consume, they don't really have a lot of information on what they do, bro, you probably shouldn't be working with them. I'm gonna be honest. That doesn't make any sense. You have no idea what they do. You have no idea how their leads work, who's worked with them. Should you trust them? Dude, I'm just using myself. If you're an agent, you would feel dumb looking at our stuff and be like, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not going to lie, me and my team, we laugh. Not in a disrespectful way. It's just like, bro, you sure? It's like, all of our ads show testimonials. Every day we post testimonials. I can share my screen and just be like, come on, bro, let's just scroll. Let's just see all these other agents doing it. So they're better than you. Cool. So you can't do this too. Okay, cool. Perfect. Just keep scrolling. Boom. Just keep scrolling. We can go back for months I can go back years. I can go back. Go to my website. Look at this. Got videos from back into 2022. Like, dude, I have so much ammunition, bro. And I say that to say, like, you can't say it doesn't work. Only you don't work, or only it didn't work for you this time. But it's not that it doesn't work. Like, don't do that. And you shouldn't get on calls with companies if you don't have any faith that it's going to work for you. Because what's the point of shopping around, dude? To me, shopping around, you should do that before you go on the call. That's like your research. That's your job. You're about to invest money. Why are you getting on a call and letting the person on the call dictate whether or not you move forward? That just makes no sense to me. So don't get on the, like, to me, and I would tell this to anybody that worked with me, if they were an agent or doing anything, I'd be like, bro, if you are going to get on a call or talk to somebody, you are going to move forward. You take action. Uncomfortable, if you have it or if you don't have it, do it. People are like, that's not financially safe. That's fair. I'm not saying it was. I never said that I am the best, most financially sound person in the world. But I will say that what I've learned over my life is that when you take immediate action on things, when you just pray about it and you're like, God, make this clear to me, and you feel that feeling where it's uncomfortable, to me, that's the Holy Spirit telling you it's time to do it. And I jump in the water. Because every time I've jumped in the water, regardless if I've went to a bad place for a little bit, I've always came back 10 times stronger. And I've had a completely different perspective on not only life, but on business, sales, strategy, and growth, right? So hopefully this helps. Longer video. Said it was going to be shorter. I had to go on a little tangent. Hopefully this helps. You guys have an amazing, blessed Friday. See you guys soon.